Hey guys, Taylor from Etherspot here. Today I'm just going to run through this quick tutorial on how to implement social logins using the Etherspot Prime SDK. So for those who don't know what social logins are, this essentially lets a user on your dApp log in via their Twitter or their email or their LinkedIn, their Gmail, something like this. And then using Web3Auth, we create a key-based wallet off that. And that key-based wallet is then passed into the Etherspot Prime SDK, so we can generate an Etherspot smart account off it. So pretty much it lets non-native Web3 users log in to some Web3 dApp using, like I said, their Twitter, and then they have a usable smart contract account that they can deposit funds to and use just like any other wallet on the blockchain. So we'll start just by hopping over here into the terminal. I've got this directory here, social logins tutorial, and I'm going to start just by creating a Next.js app. I'll just call it social logins. We're going to use TypeScript for this, and then I'm just going to hit enter through all the other stuff as it is all default. So first things first, we're going to install the Etherspot Prime SDK. So that's the first package you need. I'll cd into my social logins directory. Just for this tutorial, I'm using version 1.0.1 of the Prime SDK because there's a little issue with the most recent version of the Prime SDK, but by the time this video is released, it should be fixed anyway. So, okay, great, that installed correctly. And we're also going to install these packages here. These are for Web3Auth. This is what I was talking about, is the authentication for the Twitter, the email, whatever, which then creates the key-based wallet. We're also gonna install a couple of other packages here. These aren't actually relevant to getting the social logins working, but just for the purposes of this tutorial, to make things look a little nicer and style them, we have a couple of these packages included. So I'm just gonna go ahead and install them here, so I don't see any errors once I put these imports in. So there'll be npmi styled components and React load spinner. Cool, and pretty sure that's us in terms of imports. So now we can hop out of VS Code and open up our directory. Desktop, Etherspot, social logins tutorial, social logins. Okay, great. So for this, we're just gonna have one component, which we're gonna call, and we're just gonna create a directory for that there. I'm gonna call this app.tsx. It's gonna be a TypeScript file, which we're gonna call in the render function on our page here. We're just gonna remove this file. So this is actually going to throw some errors right now, but to be honest, that's okay. Component slash app. And then we're just going to return. We're going to remove all of this code here. Oh, I deleted the brackets by accident. All we're going to return is our app, which we are going to create in this file here. In the layout file, yeah, we're going to remove this global CSS and remove this file here as well, just because we're going to add some of our own CSS within the app. Moving on to the app itself, we're going to make it so this isn't throwing errors first. Actually, no, initially we are going to just add the imports, make sure we don't see any errors here. Okay, good. It's not complaining about any of the packages. So, yep, that's nice. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually just add the app quickly and give it a return value so it doesn't throw errors for now, just to make sure everything is working okay. And we need to export this as well at the bottom. What is the code for that? Yes, export default app. Okay, we also need to add up here. Okay, nice. So that part is done. We're ready to actually write some cool social login code. Okay, so yeah, the first thing we're gonna add here is we're gonna initialize the Web3 auth instance itself with our custom values. So this chain namespace is never going to change when we're using it on Ethereum, which you're going to be using because we only support EVM based networks with Etherspot Prime. This chain ID, this is going to be pretty much whatever chain you want to use it on. So if I go to the Etherspot docs here, you can take a look at the chains that we support. We also have the hex values here, and this is what you want to take and pass into this, pass in here. So because I'm just doing a test one, I'm going to use Mumbai here, and this is the hex from Mumbai. The client ID, this is something you're going to have to go get yourself from the Web3 Auth dashboard. Which I'll show you myself. I think I should be logged in here. Okay, I'm not. But anyways, it's super simple to log in with any email address, and you can get a client ID for free if you're not well, if you're only using it for testing purposes. It's fine, you don't have to worry. I think they start to charge after a certain amount of use is going through. Alright, so I have a couple of test nets created here. I'm going to use this one here, this random one, test 222. I don't really care about showing my client ID on this tutorial because it doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to just delete it after anyway. So that's what we put for our client ID. So this client ID matters because this will, when someone logs in via this client ID and via Etherspot Prime, that means that they'll access the same wallet every time. So if I'm using this client ID for this dApp and I log in via Twitter each time through this client ID, and the wallet is created with Etherspot Prime, it's going to create the same wallet address or generate the same wallet. So it means I can access the same wallet that I've been using before. So yeah, that's all we need for that. And then we need to also add in the, where is it? Yes, define the open login adapter, which is here. Which is all we need to do outside of the app function. Next, within the app here, we're just going to add a couple of use states just to keep track of some things. So we're going to set is connecting, set is connecting equals react.use state, and then we'll set that default to false. Let's just copy these down a little bit and make some changes to it. So we also want an error message, set error message, and the third is the wallet address, which we want to save and return to the user. Set wallet address. And these are not booleans, these will be strings, so let's set them appropriately. Okay, so we're gonna add two functions here. The only two we're gonna use. We're gonna use login with provider. And then we're gonna copy that. We're gonna create another function here. We're gonna call it log out. So this is essentially, we want the user to be able to log in with, you know, whatever provider they want, you know, their Twitter, their Google, something like this. And then we also just want them to be able to log out. All we're gonna show with this app is how to create the actual login and display the address to the user. We're not gonna do anything else outside of that. So first of all, we're going to work on this login function. So one thing we're going to pass into this is this login provider function or variable. So this will essentially be the type of provider we're passing in. So be it like Google or Twitter or something like this. So first of all, we're going to add this here, if is connecting return. So we don't want them to be able to log in while they are already trying to log in, because that doesn't make any sense. Might cause some weird behavior. So we'll set is connecting to true here, and we will set error message to blank because we're trying a new login, and we will set the wallet address. This should already be blank at this stage, but we'll set it to blank anyway just to be safe. So next I'm just going to paste in this if statement here, and then I'll talk through what it does. Let's see, we got a couple of errors, so we'll fix those first. Oh yes, sorry, we need to oh, wrong side. We need to set these functions to async. I'm gonna do that with this other one as well before I forget. And then yes, our error message has a different name than what it does in the demo code online. So yeah, pretty much what we're doing here is we're checking if Web3 auth is connected, and if it's not, we'll initialize it. And if it is connected, then yeah, we will try and connect to the wallet adapters via open login. So what we're doing here is passing in the login provider, you know, like we said, the Google or Twitter or something like that, and then connecting to Web3 auth using this MFA level. This is multi-factor authentication level. We're not using any here, so we can leave that as none. The other parts of it here, just some error checking, and then we can return this. We'll return that to the user later on if there's anything wrong. Okay, now that we've initialized our Web3 auth instance using our login provider, we can add a couple more functions here. Why is this getting an error? Okay, yes, we can't have that be null, so let's put this return function in here. So what we're doing here is we're creating this thing called a mapped provider. A mapped provider. So this is essentially taking in the provider from the Web3 auth instance that we just passed in, and creating an object which the Etherspot SDK can use to create a wallet based off of this. So we're going to remove this code here actually because we don't need it. What we do need is the correct chain ID though. So go back here again. We're still using Mumbai, so we want to put this in. The things we're passing into the Etherspot Prime SDK here are the map provider. This is what we've just created here. And then also the chain ID, so we know which chain to create the Etherspot account on. So yeah, the last bit of this is just going to be actually returning the address. So this is what we'll do in these last couple of lines to describe what they do. So we're getting the address here using this get counterfactual address function from the Etherspot Prime SDK. Because we've created the objects now, the Etherspot Prime SDK is instantiated, so we can do whatever we want with it. We could return this address, which means we can send funds to it. We can call other functions such as sending transactions. We can call custom transactions, whatever we want. So we're going to set the wallet address here to that use state we created earlier, so we can return that to the user in this return function here. And we're also going to set is connecting to false because we're done with the connection and everything should be working hopefully. So now we just need to add this logout function, which is a pretty small function, but I am once again just going to paste it from the code because it's less important than the stuff we just ran through there. So yeah, when the logout function is called, we're going to call set wallet address. We're going to pretty much clear the cache of the Web3 auth using this Web3auth.logout function. Sorry, we're going to clear the cache using the clear cache function, but then this just logs us out. Okay, cool. So that's everything we need in terms of functions. So now we just need to add in the return code. So for this, I am not much of a front-end developer myself, so thank God someone else at my company has whipped up a little bit of CSS here to make this look a little nicer. I'm gonna copy that CSS in there, and then I'm gonna add in the return code down here and talk through just the important parts. Okay, did I not? Oh, I have missed a good chunk of the CSS, it looks like. So let's just make sure that that's incorrect. Hit save, scroll down. Yep, looks like everything is hopefully working. So essentially what we're doing here is when we are not connected, we're going to show this 3 different buttons. We're going to show a login with Google button, login with LinkedIn, login with GitHub. This is going to call this login with provider function. This is what we created earlier, and we said we were going to pass in, you know, whatever provider it is that we want to work with. So using this login provider function or variable, we can pass in, you know, any of these, and then Web3Auth can create a wallet, a key-based wallet basis off of that. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to show Google, LinkedIn, and GitHub. So yeah, I think that should be everything we need to get this running. So we can give this a go, and hopefully it works. And if not, then we will do a little debugging and we'll see what is wrong. Say some compiling at least. Let's see what happens when I put it up. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. Oh, cannot resolve RxJS. Okay, this is another package. I actually need to add this to the docs that we need to install for this, which is fine. We'll run it again and hopefully it works. Oh yes, and of course I need to add use clients, which I believe that line of code is at the top of this page. Okay, couple of tiny hiccups, but this should work. But yeah, let's just go ahead and run it and see how it looks and how it could look in production. So yeah, this is how the app looks. These beautiful pink colors, you know, as you can see, like I said, you know, we're given the option to log in with Google, LinkedIn, or GitHub. I'm just going to show how Google works because they all work pretty much the same way. You click a button, and then you can prompt it to click one of your Google Mail accounts. It'll log in and authenticate through Web3Auth. As I said in the background, this creates a private key wallet, a key-based wallet, which is then passed into the Etherspot SDK. And then we have this address here. This will be currently on Mumbai, which is an Etherspot smart contract account. So it's not deployed. It's not deployed yet, and we can't actually. Oh, that's the wrong thing to copy. So it's not deployed yet, but we can see the address does exist in the blockchain. The actual smart contract account will be deployed on the first transaction. So if we were to send some funds to this account and then send a transaction or do whatever on the first transaction, the gas fee will be a little bit more and the smart contract account will be deployed. So yeah, that's everything. I've covered everything I wanted to today. Hopefully that's helpful in building a dApp with social logins, so you can ease people who don't really know so much about Web3 into these, you know, wonderful Web3 dApps that people are building. Yeah, and that's it. You need any help, join our Discord, join our Telegram, ask questions, open a ticket. Me or someone else will be there to help. We're really keen for people to be using the Etherspot Prime SDK as we think it's amazing. So yeah, thanks.